Hi, parents, caregivers, and everyone who is interested or has a stake in special needs. Welcome to Calm It's TimMy Time. I'm your host, Alvin Keng, and I'm thrilled to have you join us on this journey of discovery. Come and learn more as we navigate the depths of knowledge and understanding about children with special needs. In conjunction with Autism Awareness Month this year, we have lined up some true stories and testimonies of parents who have been through their own journey of struggle and overcoming caring for a child with special needs. For our guest today, I would like to introduce to you Chia Tshun Ket, or known to his friends as TK, a dedicated parent from Sabah who has made his home in Selangor. He is happily married with a child who will soon turn 7. His career trajectory from a data analyst to a campaign management manager and now in data governance role reflects his commitment to professional growth. However, TK's true happiness lies in spending quality time with his loved ones, embracing a simple lifestyle that allows for cherished moments with family and friends. Beyond his responsibilities, TK shares a passion for travel, seeking refuge in off-grid destinations away from the bustling city life. He harbors a lifelong fascination with 4x4-wheel off-road cars, dreaming of the occasional escape to experience off-grid living, albeit recognizing the challenges of turning this dream into a reality. So join us as we delve deeper into TK's journey as a parent of a child with special needs, exploring the joys, struggles, and aspirations that shape his life. So welcome, TK. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Alvin. Nice to be here and be able to share with everybody the journeys. Yeah.
So TK, can you share with us your journey? How did it all started? What happened? How do you find out that your child actually has special needs or special or learning challenges?
If you ask me, I want to summarize in just one short sentence: caught in surprise. We didn't know what happened. So when we're reading, like every parents with young kids assume do, we look at the developmental milestones of the kids, right? So when my kids turn 3, she's not able to speak yet. So that's why it triggers something for us to think further. Okay. Verbal communication is one of the trigger points that we explore further. That's one. Second thing is other symptoms like lack of eye contact. It's one, lack of eye contact, and then also not responsive to name. When we call a kids, she may not responding to you every time. So that's how we start to think, there's something not normal. I don't know how to describe it. So we started to talk to people, and I think it is also very fortunate that we have a very close family friends who actually hinted at us and give us some tips, or rather tactfully told us that you have to do something, there's something not right. That's where we discovered and and start the journey dealing with
So just wondering, I mean, you mentioned that she was 3 and then you found out. I mean, I'm sure as first-time parents, you were probably not aware. Was it because of this family friend, or was it because she was in daycare and then they noticed? Like, who mentioned to you, or was it something you and your wife already kind of had knowledge of?
it started with ourselves lah. I mean, when we discovered something not right in terms of the developmental milestones, so we do our own research. We look for informations, and we also do the self-check using one of those popular self-check questionnaire that you can get easily from the internet. And of course, that's one, but we get information to validate our understanding. So that's why I mentioned about our close friends. But really the trigger point for us to say, let's not think further. It is what it is where we had I think one time we went to the doctor and then the doctor noticed something. Right, the doctor back then, without second thought, she wrote a referral letter and asked us to go to session.
Oh wow. So that's actually quite interesting, because it is quite different from what a lot of other parents go through. Because I think most parents, they will find out through either the daycare or the school. And I mean, your child is 3, and somehow you noticed. So that was quite interesting. And then of course you mentioned that her doctor itself immediately made a referral.
Right.
And through the close friends encouragement, then you decided to go for further diagnosis or assessment lah.
Yes.
Ah, cool, cool. So, when did this happen? Like, I know you mentioned that you were taken by surprise, and of course you did your own research. But could you share the journey of like when did it start? What happened after that? What were the assessments you brought your child to, and how did it progress from there?
Okay. So the first trigger point was that we went to a specialist, a developmental P, where we get her diagnosed, right? So when we get her diagnosed, it is confirmed. After the confirmation, actually, we maybe like most of the parents, we couldn't accept it. Even though the fact is lying in front of us, we couldn't accept it. So we taken aback and then we didn't do anything for a while. Okay. But I'm also very fortunate that there are encouragement coming in. And the waiting period for us to react to the situation is not very long. Okay. Maybe less than half a year, right? So from there, we seek assistance, but we do not know what to do. Okay, that is the time that we struggle the most. Really, really struggle the most. Not only worried, I think it's also a emotional roller coaster for both me and my wife, right? But we are also very, very much aware that we need to start something. We cannot just stop there lah. So we explore options by taking cue from the more mainstream treatment lah, so to speak, all right. So we started her with the early interventions, and the early interventions that we enrolled her is ABA lah. So ABA. So we started ABA for, I think it's just for a couple of months, where we were not able to see any improvement yet. That's when MCO happens. The whole planning, the whole arrangement has got to stop. No one knows what happened to MCO, including all the therapy session got stopped. So that's the to me is a second wave of struggle coming to us. We don't know what to do. We know we need to do something, but we cannot go out and seek help. So sitting at home doesn't solve any issue. That's the real struggle coming in. What to do? Okay. Then we discussed among ourselves, me and my wife, say, hey, let's do something ourselves to help. But then we have no experience, we have no reference, we have no benchmarking. We really don't know what to do. And ended up we still reach out to the therapy center and see what can be done remotely. So at the age of 3, the kid has started online class. Okay, thanks, but not thanks to MCO lah, right? So we started there, and then we see improvement, and we continue improvement as in at least the kid know how to respond to something, at least aware of something, rather than living in its own world, not responding to anything. Okay? And yeah, so the journey continued. So when the MCO has the MCO period has gradually over, and we became a bit more active. Okay, so not only at the ABA, we are moving away from ABA to OT and speech. Okay, that is also because of the advice from the developmental P, where it says the kids has a speech delay for at least 18 months back then. So then, hey, let's do something about the speech first, because without the ability to communicate, she couldn't express, she couldn't communicate. That can make the situation worse. So we started the speech therapy and OT, right? ABS still continue, it still continue, but we also realized that it has its limitations. Okay, because first it is one-to-one sessions. That's one. Second is it creates a lesser opportunity for interactions as in the context of social communications. Okay, and with that in mind, we explore schooling options, right? Preschool, especially preschool. So when we started to explore preschool, that is the third wave of struggle came in, and this wave really hit us hard, really, really hard. So I would say that probably is the first time that we try to make contact with outside party, where um, a lot of things happens, and majority of the events end up with rejections. Yes, we cannot accept the kid because the kid cannot respond to a lot of things, cannot react appropriately in their expectations, lah, right? So we get a lot of rejections, and really that is also the time that we taken aback. Okay, that's also the time that we are struggling real hard, and until the time that we sort of like refuse to talk. Okay, we do not want to share just to protect ourselves, not to get any further rejections, not to get hurt anymore, right? But that is not working out because things didn't progress. So through the encouragement from our close friend, and also importantly through our faith, we realized that we are not alone, but then we need to seek help. Otherwise, help will not come automatically. And that's why we open ourselves up. Okay, a few things that I consider very drastic that we've done. Okay, first is to remove ourselves from negative thoughts, and to remove ourselves from the situations that give us negative energy, so to speak. Okay, and to be very honest with you, one of those places are the community that we are participated in, where we didn't get the reasonable acceptance, right? So that's why we seek out. So hence, when we remove ourselves from those negative thoughts, then we focus our energies on more positive things, and focus a lot of energy on seeking back to our roof to seek help from our faith, right? So we are Christians, both me and my wife, and also a lot of our family members, and we get a lot of support from them, although they don't know what to do. But the constant message that we get is, you're not alone, because you have God. So that's also when we pick ourselves up, okay, and sort of like restart the journeys, okay, and understand a fact that it is not the end of the world. Okay, if one door closed, the other door open. So we continue with our journey to explore, with the aim to get the kid with more opportunity to socialize, to communicate, and finally we got her into kindergartens. Yeah, in the kindergarten, that's where we see the progress is like progressing very, very differently and very rapidly. Okay, so from a kid that living in its own world, do not interact until able to share with us what happened in school, can remember the friend's name, and even have a best friends that the other party also recognize my kid as the best friend. So I think the journey has been amazing. It's amazing. What we learn along the journey is that we celebrate very little progress and milestones. I think we need that to recognize the improvement. Although some of the improvement, when I share with my friends, some of my friends will just look at me with blank face. Huh? Is that something given? Now, yes, probably to a typical development kids, but to us, that's a big improvement. I give you an example. Okay, like pointing to things. It becomes so natural. It's so natural for a lot of people. I think we took 6 to 9 months to teach our kid how to point to things, and teach her how to um, turn her head to the direction that we're pointing to. Wow, I tell you that that is really something to us and to celebrate, right? Another example is teaching the kid how to spit out water from the mouth. To other people, it's so natural. To other kids, it's so natural. We took at least 6 months to teach her to understand the concept, to know how to use the muscle into the mouth to spit out the water. Otherwise, then for the past few years, when she was younger, brushing teeth, you never see you never see the water spit out from the mouth. Okay, so it is amazing journey, and along the journey, I also learned that as a parent, uh, uh, do understand the situations, accept it, and deal with it. Just no other way. So we gotta just deal with it. Okay, and also when we're dealing with it, I also reckon the fact that as a parents, we need to be open up first before we are able to receive support and assistance from outside. So if I'm not open up, I can never get the assistance or support that I need. So open up in not to just recognize that the kids has autism, but open up also to recognize the fact that other people will see this situation and how do we work with them to um, um, to have a reasonable solutions, practical and achievable. Yeah. So
Wow.
that's my journey so far. Yeah. Mm.
That sounds like a roller coaster. I mean, I mean, it's quite interesting that you actually time your challenges in three big waves, and yeah, and it's a roller coaster, right? The journey of taking care of a child with special needs. You know, you overcome one hurdle, and then suddenly there's another hurdle that's in front of you, and then suddenly there's another hurdle that's in front of you. I mean, unfortunately, you had to go through the whole hurdle of MCO, and that was something beyond everyone's control. But the cool thing that I think you and your wife did was that you found a way. You know, like, yeah, this is happening. We are helpless, but we're not entirely helpless. We're gonna try anything, and that helped. You know, that gave some progress. You could recognize that, and of course, I think the other thing that I can catch from what you're sharing is, you know, this whole thing about just because we find something that works now doesn't mean that it will work forever.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important, like what you mentioned, to look at the progress of the child and see what else you can do to, you know, sort of like encourage more growth or encourage more, yeah, more the child hitting more developmental milestones. You know, just because we have one solution doesn't mean that the hurdle keeps coming on and coming on. And it's also very encouraging to hear that you've got support of family and friends. I think that's also very important. Although not everybody might have such support. But I think you also mentioned that you were part of a community that somehow you didn't get as much support.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Okay. Um, um, Maybe it's just my interpretations, and I'm looking at it from just my viewpoint. It may not represent the story from everybody, right? So, but from my viewpoint is, I do expect that people understand the situations, hence why is this kid sometimes will behave so weird. Yeah, and as a parents, sometimes I do expect people to understand, but realizing the fact that it's not, yeah, and when the situation escalates where we are no longer welcome, yeah, not that I think that's the wrong choice of word. It's not that we no longer welcome, but they probably need to make a decisions that to exclude us from certain things. So we understand the situation. We were very, very upset with it, very honest. That's the place that we seek comfort in terms of get rejections, right? So we very fortunate is that we not give up. It is a situational issue. So end of the day, when we ponder, when we look back, it's really lack of awareness. It's one. Second is really lack of knowledge to handle. So if I do not know how to handle a situation, I'll avoid it. Okay. So in that situations, unfortunately, the method to avoid this is to exclude us from that community. So from this journey, I learned that I need to be very transparent to avoid that unnecessary queries later. So I learned to be very open and transparent. Whenever I go to the new place, whenever I get into a new society, I will sort of like declare upfront, hey, it is what it is. I have an autistic kids. Okay. Autistic kids will sometimes behave like this. It is something that you guys see not acceptable in your context. I appreciate your honesty. Maybe we cross our path in futures, not now. So I practice that. But end of the day, I think we should be aware of a few things. At least that's what I believe. Okay, first, you have to understand and accept and do a lot of research through talking to people, through reading and whatever means, right? You cannot keep it to yourself. I think a lot of parents will struggle because they choose to keep it to themselves and do not seek help. So talking to people, understanding your options is important. I guess is the number one things that we should do. Understand your options, and then later the second part to me is talk to others, share with others. That's where you learn rapidly by knowing the experience that other people has. Yeah, so that helped you to evaluate the options that you have. And actually, I learned a lot from these conversations and my conversation with Bill Alvin before to understand that we don't always follow one options. There are multiple options that you can evaluate to suit the needs of your kid. Okay. Don't always be so stubborn that I need to follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't always work that way.
I think it's a two-way street, right? When you talk about understanding and acceptance, one like you mentioned, we need to be open to share, and if people don't accept, then we're okay with it and we just move on, because we can't expect everybody to, accommodate, because people might not be able to accommodate. So by understanding that, it also helps us. But at the same time, I also feel that, especially when it comes to a community, and if you have enough relationship, like enough time together, I think it's only fair if there is some form of conversation, or some form of at least attempt to understand, rather than just an ultimatum. I think sometimes, like you said, with ignorance, a lot of times it's ultimatum, and people don't understand and they don't even want to talk, especially if I'm thinking out loud because I have the opportunity to lead people, whether it's in an organization or whether it's in, my church. And I realized one very important thing, that as a leader, you kind of need to have more empathy. I mean, you might not be able to do everything or help everyone, but having a little bit of empathy will at least, at least have a conversation, at least try to understand. And if you know that the person is, well, just trying to take you for granted or trying to create havoc, then okay lah, at least I know. And giving people the benefit of the doubt is very important. I think that's very important. Sometimes, like you mentioned, we can be so set in our ways, set in the ways that, like, oh, this is the way, it's my way or the highway. And I realize that when that happens, it closes the door on possibilities, or it closes the door on things that can be beautiful. And I think that's something that I've learned in this journey. A lot of things you've shared, I can resonate seriously about, like, how you do something and then you're like, okay, it doesn't work, let me try and find another way. I can resonate with how I mean, I'm a little bit more open to share about things like this, with people now, and I realize the more I'm able to share, the more I learn. And I learn for the sake of my growth, and I learn for the sake of my child and my family, and it's not to put anybody down, or it's not to Like, I always tell people I'm not an advocate of this because I know how some people are very advocate, no, we must have inclusivity. I mean, well, yes and no lah. We should have understanding, but I don't expect people to accommodate for me for everything. I think that's not realistic at all. I think finding common ground or finding middle ground is very important. And I think it comes both ways, from the community or organizational side and also from the family side. Yeah. You mentioned another thing as well, which I think is also very important for other parents to hear about from finding help. I think you well, I wouldn't say diverted, but you pivoted your strategy to finding a school. And it sounds like, and again, a lot of people find school for different reason. I think uh, for and I mean, and just to also draw out what you shared, about you celebrate little milestones, and then other people see like, huh? But for us, we understand how how big that little milestone is. So we have different objectives, I would say, and looking for a school or looking for a place where they get help. Our objectives are different. I know a lot of parents, when they, especially Asian parents, we think about academics immediately. It's like must get A, must hit the. But for us, it's different. For us, it's like, no, I need to find a place that my child can develop in their social interaction, because that helps them with their learning. So what were your considerations? That's one. And of course, I think you shared a little bit of rejection and disappointment, and thank you so much for sharing how you came out of it. But I just want to draw a little bit from your experience looking for the right school. And how did you handle, like, I mean, yeah, you had a lot of rejections, but how were you able to navigate that? Because I know also people that can go through that, and then after a while they give up and they just leave their child at home, which I think is not the best also lah. So, can you share a little bit of experience on that? Like, what were the considerations? What have you learned in this journey of looking for a school? And of course, with the current arrangement of school, does it even work in the long run? Or maybe there are some challenges, or you might need to consider certain things. I mean, this is reality, right? Not everything is perfect all the time. So could you share a little bit about that?
I think it's perfect, right? I think me and my wife think a lot on this one about the education path. But before we realized that the kid has autism, hence the learning pathway may be different. Okay, we maybe like majority of parents, we look at academic, but we soon realized that academic is not the important elements in the learning journey. Okay, so we need to have an environment for the kids to learn to socialize, to develop. Okay, when she acquired any kids lah, right? When they acquired the ability, the skill sets to learn, academic result will come naturally. Okay, so for now we are not putting academic results as our priority. Okay? In fact, we never bother. We never bother. But what we are looking at when we want to start the school searching thing is that we are thinking first, we need a lot of interaction for her. We need to create opportunity so that she can interact with her peers. Okay, because we also realized that when she started to develop the ability to communicate, the kid will choose adults, not peers. They choose adults to try to communicate, but they don't really bother about peers one. So that's got us worried a little. And then I guess the only place that we can find peers is probably through school. Okay, that's when we started the journey, right? And there's no best school. There's only the most suitable school for the development of the kid, right? That's one thing that we need. The second thing that we need is also the educator themselves is the one who really make it or break it. Doesn't really matter how reputable is the school, how big is the school, or how small is the school, how beautiful is building. It doesn't really matter to them. Right? So it's the educators, whether the educators has the necessary knowledge, and more importantly, have the heart to educate. That's the most important thing. So in our journey, when we exploring the schools, kindergartens at the time, right? So we visited many schools, right? So we picked those schools that term themselves as inclusive school, meaning they provide certain support for special needs learners. Okay, but very often, or should I call it, don't be surprised if you go in and then you found out that's not the case. Right. So yes, I experienced that some school really have good support, but they have their boundary. They choose their target group. Okay, that's type number one. Type number two is they term it as inclusive school, but they have no knowledge, no experience whatsoever. Okay, get away from that. I think the kids will not benefit from that. I think third is there are schools that provide an inclusive environment with certain form of knowledge, but more importantly, the educator, the teachers understand. I think that probably is the most suitable environment, at least for my family, right? And when I consider school, I got a lot of rejections that I shared before, and before that I couldn't understand why do you reject me when you say you are inclusive school. Okay, but now I understand that what's a big deal if you reject me? So okay, now the fact that you reject me, I know more. To it open another it's the eye opener to me that not all the schools are the same, even though they say it is, right? And at the same time, when we have this struggle to find school, but the rejections, the hurt is real one. We still get hurt, right?
I'm sure it's real. Like what you say is true lah. And another thing I would say, just because someone has a degree on the wall doesn't mean that you can run things practically lah. I mean, let's
Exactly,
be honest lah.
exactly.
I mean, for people who experience it, you know what we're talking about lah. Okay, so it's an eye opener. I agree. I've also been eye opened by a lot of things. I mean, again, are there good doctors out there? Are there good practitioners out there? Yes, there are. But unfortunately, I would say we have to sort of like go through it lah. You
Yeah,
have to go through the experiment and see whether it works, right?
right, correct. I think
Yeah.
the facts that I realized that I will use if I were to restart the journey to look for a school for kids is that be open, listens, and understand what options you have, but do not decide so fast that that is the right options, because it really depends on who you talk to. Every kid has different needs. Every kid has need different situations and support to excel. Try not to take other people's success story and assume that will be the success story as well if I choose that path. I'm just worried that you end up with disappointments. Okay? So hence, there's no good or bad. It's just that the situations where it's most suitable for the developmental needs. Cost of education, I also realized one fact that in fact, I get it from two different persons so that I understand and also further validated this concept. I think one is through you, Alvin. Yeah. Educations start with family, not the school. You cannot outsource to the school. It is with you, the parents. You know your kids best, how they want it to be. Yeah, hence, I've never really commended hard on other parents who choose what schooling options that they have. Some choose homeschool, some choose a typical school, some choose inclusive school, some choose special needs school. There are various options that I believe they exist for different reasons to suit different needs of the children. But as a parents, you need to know your options, but you need to know what is the most suitable options for your own kids. Start with the family needs.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, suitable option in terms of your lifestyle, suitable option in terms of your, financial capability. I think it's very important to know that because It can be seem like something that's very expensive, but there are other options out there that can work. And sometimes we just gotta adjust. You gotta adjust your lifestyle. You gotta adjust where you go. You gotta adjust different things. And I would say, my encouragement to parents most of the time is that you are the expert because you see your child every day. You know them. And if you tell me you don't know them, then it sounds to me like you need to spend more time with them, to really know. And every individual is different. Every child's progression is different. Putting them under one mold may not work. So you got to kind of get your hands dirty to get into it, to kind of know, because you have the opportunity to be there with your child every day. And if you are not, means you're either working too much or not dealing with the whatever that you're facing. So I think, yeah, what you share is very true. If we want to see the best progression, I think we have to get our hands dirty. We need to know, we need to understand, we need to find out deeply what the school says. Don't just read a flyer and say, oh, this works, and then just sign up. You can do that first, but if you find out that it's not working, then you got to change your plan now. Doesn't make sense, right? You don't try to keep whacking it and hope something will happen. It's not gonna happen. You already tried for 3 months. Just change. You can't afford it. Just change. Find another solution. There are many solutions out there, whether you can afford it or not. So I think that's an important note. So TK, I have one more question. A few more questions for you. So one is, could you share with us, like you mentioned about milestones? So could you share with us like the one or two milestones that, other people might not understand, doesn't matter, but for you, the milestones that you say, hey, this happened, and I'm so encouraged, as a father. Could you share one or two of those milestones that happen? I would say celebrations that you could have, that you have, in this journey. Yeah.
One thing that's come out very strongly for me, the milestones that we celebrated, and we're still celebrating it, is the ability of the kid to communicate and make friends. Yeah, and recognize that, and come back home and tell me, I have a best friend. My best friend is so and so. And this is further validated by the other kids. Yeah, we are best friends. So that is, to me, it's a very, very significant milestone, where the barrier of autistic kids is unable to make contact, until the level that someone else also recognized that your kid is their friend. I think that's a very, very important milestone to me. And so in my case, the second milestones that we really, really appreciate is that from non-verbal kids turn to verbal kids. Okay, we were so worried. We're so worried that she can never speak in her own life there. And we have even prepared to explore alternative communications methods. Yeah, like those what do you call that things again? I can't remember. It's AAC or ACC, AAC, I think. Just right. So we are even going that directions and start researching. Okay, but with the continuous support to develop her ability to speak in the speech area, we can see suddenly the breakthrough. That's really another milestone for our kid, right? And why do I say that it's important? And I remember it vividly in mind, is that is the tool that we use to communicate. Without the ability to communicate, the kid would have problem to express, unable to express will lead to a lot of problems. Okay? Emotional breakdown, tantrum, meltdown, self-hurt, all the things that come together, okay? Because of the inability to communicate with others. So far, to us, this really important milestones. Yeah.
Wow, that's good. Some of these things can be taken for granted, right? You
Yes.
mentioned that like we celebrate it and we could really take it for granted. But I think one of the cool things, I would say cool, being a parent of a child with special needs, is that I learned to not take things for granted. Every single milestone is a celebration. Every single thing you appreciate, you appreciate how complex humans are.
Yeah,
and that gives you that gives a different perspective about how to look at life as well, right?
correct, correct. As you see the kid develop more communication skill using more methods, uh, we feel so encouraged that recently my kids has developed another communication skill, writing letter.
Wow.
So if she missed someone, she couldn't see her, or maybe her friends is holiday, some teachers on holiday, and she missed her. Yeah, you try to write letter and give it to them. So
How
that
many of
to
us do that now? We just send text. That's so
correct,
amazing.
correct. So I think it is, yes, it is amazing because she has just learned another skill to communicate. Okay, so communication can be verbal or non-verbal. So now she know verbal communications and non-verbal. Although it's not perfect, but she at least acquired a skill and started to develop, and hopefully one day it will become a matured skill that she can master. But you see the kid learn and explore and acquire new skill. That is a very, very encouraging moment. Yeah. For me as a parent.
Wow, that's really amazing. TK, we are at the end of our podcast. Do you have any advice to any other parent out there who may be going through either a similar situation with you? Do you have anything to share with them?
Yes, don't keep it to yourself. Okay, it is not end of the world. There are a lot of options out there. Please go out and explore. How do you explore? Doing research, talk to people. But one thing to take note is that when you talk to people, try to talk to people that relatively neutral, with no conflicts of interest. Why do I say that? It's because if you approach, okay, I'm not trying to conclude anything, but if you approach a therapy center, the therapy center will naturally talk about things or services that they offer. Okay, while it's good, but don't be limited. Okay, so talk to a lot of people. Be transparent. Be open about it, and accept it and deal with it. Okay. Okay. Next is to really come together and build a network of support among yourself. Yeah, I think that's important as a person's. We have our up and downs as well, and building a support network around you, especially in your circle of influence, is really important to give you the courage and energy to walk the journey. It's a journey. It will not. It is not that I achieved this, finished. That's it. No, it's a lifelong journey. And third, if you ask me, is no matter what phrase that what phase that you're practicing in, have faith and practice your faith. I'm a Christian. I rooted my faith in Christianity, and that gave me a lot of strength, a lot of encouragement from the church community, from the people that I know, that will continue to give me the strength to walk this journey. Yeah, so I think that's important. And do not keep it to yourself. Open up, talk about it, and really, yeah, there are options out there. Yeah.
Oh, there you have it. Thank you so much, TK, for sharing your story with us. It's really encouraging. I hope that all of you listening in are encouraged with this story. I also want to share that TK is actually one of our parents who, well, he's one of the key people who is like looking into our parent support group. Don't go through this alone. Reach out. We're here to talk to you, and we're here to hear your struggles and also try to see if we can build a community together. You can always contact us at info@timmy.org.my, and then we'll get back to you. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Calm It's Timmy Time, where we've delved into the world of supporting children with special needs through empathy and compassion. I'm Alvin, your host, and it's truly been an honor to have your company. Remember, it takes a kampong to raise a child. As we part ways, let's continue to cultivate understanding, sow seeds of kindness, and embark on a journey with open hearts. Don't forget to show your support by giving us a like, sharing this episode with someone who might benefit from it, and subscribing to our podcast to stay updated on future updates. You can also connect with us via email at info@timmy.org.my for any questions, suggestions, or just to say hi. Until next time, this is Alvin bidding farewell from Calm It's Timmy Time.